You're listening to Your Calm Parenting Path. I'm your host Nina, a mindful parenting coach and mum, here to help you go from overwhelmed and reactive to calm, confident and connected with your kids. This show is for parents who want to raise their children with more patience, less stress and a whole lot more joy. Because small shifts make a big impact and you can build the parenting life you've always wanted. If you want to see what I'm up to, follow me on Instagram at Mindful Parenting Lifestyle, and don't forget to hit follow or subscribe so you never miss an episode. Let's get started. Welcome back to Your Calm Parenting Path. If you've been following along, you know that in episode 1, I shared my personal journey with mindful parenting and how mindfulness became the foundation of how I parent. And in episode 2, we talked about yelling, why we do it, why it doesn't work, and how understanding our brain can help us shift out of the cycle of automatic reactions. Today we're going to build on that even further by talking about the one habit that has truly transformed the way I show up as a parent. It's simple, but incredibly powerful. And when you practice it consistently, you'll start to feel more patient, more present, and more able to handle the challenging moments with your kids without getting swept away by frustration. This habit is the power of the pause. But today I want to take it even deeper, because pausing isn't just about stopping ourselves from yelling. It's about shifting our entire perspective on parenting. And to do that, we're going to explore 3 key mindfulness concepts. Firstly, beginner's mind. How approaching parenting with curiosity changes how we respond to situations. Secondly, we'll talk about impermanence and why remembering that everything is temporary can help us to stay calm. Finally, patience. How slowing down actually makes parenting easier. So let's get into it. If you listen to episode 2, you already know that when we react impulsively, it's because our amygdala hijacks our brain. The pause is what helps interrupt that process and allows our prefrontal cortex, the thinking part of our brain, to step in so we can respond in a way that aligns with the parent we want to be. But pausing isn't just about stopping ourselves from yelling. It's also about giving ourselves the space to see things differently. So often in parenting, we're caught in that habitual thinking. We assume we already know how a situation will play out, and that assumption drives our reaction before we've even really assessed what's happening. For example, when your child starts whining, your brain might immediately think, "Oh, here we go again, this always happens." And before you realise it, you're reacting out of frustration, not based on what's actually happening, but based on your past experience and assumptions. And this is where beginner's mind comes in. Beginner's mind is a mindfulness concept that invites us to see things as if we're experiencing them for the first time, without judgment or assumptions. It's about approaching every moment with curiosity instead of frustration. Think about how a toddler sees the world. They're constantly in awe, watching ants on the footpath, fascinated by the way water pours, excited about putting on their shoes. Everything is new to them. But as adults, we lose that sense of wonder. Instead, we're often impatient. We assume we know what's coming next, and we react before we've even given ourselves a chance to experience the moment as it truly is. When we practice beginner's mind in parenting, we replace frustration with curiosity. Instead of thinking, "Oh, here we go again, my child is always so difficult," we can pause and ask ourselves, what's actually happening in this moment? What does my child need right now? How can I respond in a way that helps rather than escalates the situation? So, for example, if your child is refusing to brush their teeth, instead of reacting with, "Why do we have to do this battle every single night?" you could pause and approach it differently. Think about what's making this hard for them today. Are they tired? Do they need a little more connection before the routine starts? Approaching the situation with a fresh perspective can help us shift our response from frustration to problem solving. Pausing allows us to step out of automatic reactions and step into present moment awareness. And when we do that, we can also remember another important truth of parenting. Everything is temporary. One of the biggest reasons we struggle as parents is because we get stuck in a mindset of, this is how it's always going to be. When our child is struggling with something, whether it's tantrums, sleep regression, or just not listening, it can feel endless, like we're stuck in this phase forever. Mindfulness teaches us about impermanence, the idea that everything is always changing. No phase, no challenge, no difficult moment lasts forever. Think back to something you struggled with even just a year ago. Maybe your child was waking up 5 times a night and it felt impossible, but now they sleep through. Or maybe they used to throw tantrums every time you left the park, but now they handle transitions so much better. 6 months ago, I was struggling with getting my kids out of the swimming pool after their lessons, and now we walk out hand in hand most of the time. The struggles that once felt all-consuming, they've already shifted. So when you're in a hard parenting moment, pausing allows you to remind yourself, this is temporary. This won't last forever. That famous saying, this too shall pass. It's that reminder alone that can bring a sense of calm and perspective. The key is to trust that growth is always happening, even if you don't see it in the moment. And this leads to the last concept I want to share. Patience. We often think that patience is something we either have or we don't. But patience is actually a skill and one that we can practice and strengthen. In parenting, impatience usually comes from wanting things to happen faster. We want our kids to listen immediately, to stop crying instantly, to move through tough phases quickly. But the more we try to rush through these moments, the harder they feel. What if instead of resisting them, we slowed down? What if instead of snapping, we paused and reminded ourselves, this moment is hard, but I can handle it. Pausing gives us a chance to breathe, reset, and respond with intention rather than frustration. And when we do this consistently, we start to model patience for our children as well. This week, I want you to try a new version of the pause. I call it the beginner's pause, because instead of just stopping yourself from reacting, I want you to also bring in curiosity. When you find yourself getting frustrated with your child, take one deep breath and ask yourself, what if this was the first time I was experiencing this moment? How can I see this with fresh eyes? What is my child trying to communicate right now? This small shift can completely change how you experience difficult parenting moments. If you do try this, I'd love to hear how it goes. Send me a message on Instagram at Mindful Parenting Lifestyle and let me know what you noticed. Next episode, we're going to build on this even further by talking about emotional regulation, how to handle both your big emotions and your child's big emotions without losing your cool, so you won't want to miss it. If this episode resonated with you, I invite you to join my free 5-day mindfulness challenge. Over 5 days, you'll embark on a mindfulness journey designed to help you become calmer, more patient, and reduce yelling. It's a practical way to integrate mindfulness into your daily parenting routine. Sign up using the link in the show notes. Thanks for listening to Your Calm Parenting Path. I am so glad you're here, and I hope this episode gave you something useful to take into your parenting journey. If you'd like to dive deeper, Sign up to my mailing list at mindfulparentinglifestyle.com.au for more tips and insights, or book a free chat to learn how we can work together. And don't forget to hit follow or subscribe so you never miss an episode. I look forward to speaking with you next time on your calm parenting path.